And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to Casey's Quarantine Corner. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Wow, that seems loud. Here, let's just turn that down just a smidgen. All right, so how is everybody doing? Hopefully you've had a great weekend, and welcome to sort of Independence Day for those of us in the great state of Indiana. For those of you on the Michigan side of the border, since we sit on the border of Indiana, Michigan, sorry you elected a tyrant. But we're actually going to kind of get into some of that stuff here in just a little bit. And I want to remind everybody that this is the free episode of the week. Okay, so every Monday we do the free Quarantine Corner for all of you. And then what ends up happening is the rest of the week we do stuff just for premium subscribers. They can listen to the live audio show, download the videos, that sort of thing. So if you would please consider subscribing. It is less than the cost of a bad cup of coffee per month over at Podbean. You can download the free Podbean app. You can also just go to caseythehost.podbean.com. You can sign up on the website there. You need an account. And to listen to the shows live, you do need the app, or you have to run an emulator. And if you need help with that, Alex on Discord, I think he posted a tutorial on how to do that. So that way you can listen to the live stuff right there on your desktop. Otherwise, the free Podbean app is the way to go. And you can select your membership level. I want to thank silverfoxart.com. Again, silverfoxart.com made all of this possible. Wouldn't be able to have the streaming package if it weren't for them. They make amazing stuff. In fact, boom, that sign right there is made by Silver Fox Art. And if you are a premium subscriber, okay, doesn't matter what level subscriber you are, you have a chance to win one just like that. And that thing is huge. In fact, let me just show this to you. This is what it looks like up close. This is the same size as the one in the background. It's the same size, just not hanging on the wall. So, again, every premium subscriber, does not matter what tier you are, has a chance to win the Hendrickson logo with the backlighting. Now, if you are one of the higher tiers, anything other than the conscript level, you have a chance to win. Okay, we're going to kick this contest off here this week. You have a chance to win this, which is, of course, a Trump Punisher skull with the American flag on it. It does have backlighting as well, so this does light up, ladies and gentlemen. And then if you don't like the American flag version, not a problem. We got you covered. Boom. You've got the regular Trump Punisher right there. New designs are going to be coming in the future, but right now, you guys have an opportunity to go ahead and win those if and only if you are a premium subscriber. Put these somewhere so I don't scratch them up. All right, those are handcrafted. They're wood. They're amazing. They're fantastic, and absolutely love them. And the backlighting on them is phenomenal. And you can kind of see the white lights around there that are doing their thing throughout the show. All right, hopefully you like the new setup. We're starting to make the studio kind of look a little bit more professional. Just getting there anyway, considering the time, space, and finances that I have. But it's coming along. It is absolutely coming along. All right, so I don't know, Kathy. I don't know. I'm just saying, okay? If you prefer the regular Punisher Trump, you can have that. If you want the flag one, you can have that. If you're a premium subscriber, I'll set it all up to where you all can register for which ones you want, okay? Then you'll have an opportunity to win that. Everybody who's at the conscript level or above will also have an opportunity to win the Hendrickson logo with the backlighting, okay? Only the higher tiers have an opportunity to win the Punisher skulls right now. Now, if you do want another opportunity to win the Punisher skull, follow me on Instagram. I have a post on my Instagram at Casey the Host, which says to comment, tag a couple of people that you think would enjoy that on Instagram, and of course make sure that you are following me, so we'll be able to do that. All right, glad you liked the studio. Mom's given her approval on the studio. Got some floodlights in the background. They're red right now. I can change the color to anything that I want, so depending on my mood, those may absolutely change. All right, please continue to follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, all of that, because we're still doing the free episode, and new videos will be happening as well. Quick little side note, because of the remote at Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill tomorrow for 95.3 MNC, I am not going to be doing a live Casey's Quarantine Corner on Podbean tomorrow, but I will be uploading videos for you to digest, okay? So premium subscribers will get some videos, but you won't get the live show just because I'll be all the way across town getting ready for the live remote. All right, so I wanted to go ahead and talk about a couple of things here. I'm glad you all like the red. Like I said, I can do all the color spectrum, the RGB, so I can do whatever I want. I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to talk about something that, frankly, I bring up occasionally, and I don't talk about Saul Alinsky's stuff all that much, but I do talk about the 45 Communist Goals quite a bit. And I've had some requests to do the 45 Communist Goals again, and I might just do that for premium subscribers here soon. So if you want to see that, go ahead and comment, let me know. Also, make sure that you are liking, sharing, subscribing, and if you're on Facebook, you can even host a watch party. Okay, but Saul Alinsky is another one of those characters. Saul Alinsky basically has the manual, Rules for Radicals. That is the manual to implement the 45 Communist Goals. The 45 Communist Goals are things that they want to get accomplished, okay? The Rules for Radicals is how you do it. What's the stratagem behind that? What are some of the tactics that you're going to use for that? That's where the two of them are married together. And I haven't done the Rules for Radicals in quite some time, but I do the 45 Communist Goals regularly because they're so impactful and so many people haven't heard of them before. So I wanted to start off with rule number 1. And the reason that the Saul Alinsky stuff is so important is because the Alinsky tactics are used regularly by the U.S. media, and they're also used in U.S. politics. This is a routine thing that people run into. If you are uninitiated, maybe even if you're on the political left, you probably say, oh, this is used all the time. People are constantly bringing this up. Oh, Alinsky. Well, yeah, but you have to understand something. I mean, he basically molded the minds of a lot of professors that are now teaching students at the university and collegiate level. Those people are then going out into the workforce. And I have to remind you here, friendly, of course, that several years ago, Columbia School of Journalism did a survey. I should say there was a survey done at the Columbia School of Journalism. They didn't actually do it. What was the number one reason you wanted to become a journalist? And the number one answer was to change the world, not to report the truth, not to inform the public, but to change the world. And you do that through Rules for Radicals, which again is just the stratagem on how to implement the 45 Communist Goals. Rule number 1, power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. Power is derived from two main sources, money and people. Have-nots must build power from flesh and blood. Okay, so power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. This is so critical. You see that every day. Literally every single day on social media, rule number 1 is applied to the general public, not just in the United States, but all over the world, but in particular here in the United States. How do I mean that? Well, do you remember when Rush Limbaugh had his thing with Sandra Fluck? Remember that? He called her, he said that the behavior was like being a slut. And of course, people interpreted that as he was calling her a slut, and I suppose you could jump to that conclusion. Oh, well, the thing with Sandra Fluck, what ended up happening is there was multiple radio stations, ours got it as well, demanding that Rush Limbaugh be taken off of the air. Is a sexist, misogynistic. How can you allow somebody to say that? That campaign that saturated social media for weeks was actually run by just a handful of people. Okay, so most of the contacts that were coming into the radio stations were bots. They weren't real people. They were fake. If you look at the Judge Roy Moore fiasco, where Judge Roy Moore was being endorsed by Russians, okay, and then the U.S. media basically picked up and they said, "Hey, man, a bunch of Russians are pushing your campaign," and he goes, "That it's a Democrat conspiracy. They're bots." And then they mocked him for it. We ended up finding out that that was true. It was actually a Democratic Party operation where they created fake accounts that were pretending to be fake Russian bot accounts. I know, right? But that's a real thing that happened. What you do, how many times have we seen corporations cave on something? They've changed a policy or they issued an apology, they've recalled a product or something like that because of online outrage. And it turns out that outrage was really just a couple of people who were using bots effectively. So power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. If you have been targeted as an enemy and they have all of these Twitter mobs and things like that coming after you, it might only be a couple of people, but it seems like it's thousands. And so you think the outrage is much more than it really is. So we see rule number 1 everywhere, every day in the U.S. Number 2, never go outside the expertise of your people. It results in confusion, fear, and retreat. Feeling secure adds to the backbone of anybody. So there's a little tidbit here underneath it. Organizations under attack wonder why radicals don't address the real issues. This is why. They avoid things with which they have no knowledge. Gun control is a prime example of this, okay? The people who advocate gun control don't know anything about firearms. I'm not just saying that as a platitude. It's a demonstrable fact. They continuously say the most ridiculous and ignorant things about firearms. They're completely wrong on the gun statistics, so they just manufacture their own. They make their own gun statistics up. For example, the latest one, March was the only time we have not had a mass shooting at a public school, going back to 2000 was. I think it went back to Columbine, didn't they? Only if you do a quick little Google search, you find out that that's not true. Okay, so they lied about that. So the anti-gun movement uses this strategy quite a bit. Do you remember when it was Obama's re-election campaign and the Democratic Party's strategy document got released that was talking about gun control, and they said, do not talk about statistics and facts, talk about emotion. And the reason for that is the statistics and the facts are on the side of pro-Second Amendment advocates. They're not on the side of the anti-gun activists, okay? But if you go ahead and you stay with it, how many times you've seen a debate? Happens with me all the time with callers, right? Happens to me a couple of times. In fact, BananaFace25, silverfoxart.com, that's their promo code. Well, we had somebody named BananaFace a couple of weeks ago, hopped on. Couldn't answer a very simple, basic question and ended up running away. It is a debate tactic that people have. Don't answer the question, just move on to something else, so that way you're not outside of your comfort zone, because you can look like a fool. Number 3, whenever possible, go outside the expertise of the enemy. Look for ways to increase insecurity, anxiety, and uncertainty. This also happens all the time. How many organizations are under attack or blindsided by seemingly irrelevant arguments that they are then forced to address? Happens daily. And again, that kind of goes back to rule number 1, which is, power is not in what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. So you create an argument that doesn't make any sense. Okay. The term Karen is as offensive as the N-word right now, according to some people. Okay. That doesn't make sense to anybody. That's ludicrous. Transgender people saying that they are as victimized as African slaves were in the United States, and that transgender issues are the next civil rights movement, and they're on par with ending slavery. Now, if you were to even remotely look up the statistics on this, you would understand that that is a complete nonsensical argument, but they say that, okay? And then at that point, you're like, I don't want to be on the wrong side of civil rights history. It's pretty bad. So we see this again on a routine basis. Number 4, make the enemy live up to its own book of rules. If the rule is that every letter gets a reply, send 30,000 letters. You can kill them with this because no one can possibly obey all of their own rules. Now, this is true. I guess the best example that I would say of this is sexual impropriety in politics, right? If a Democrat, perfect example is Joe Biden, if a Democrat is accused of sexual harassment and assault by multiple women, the media won't really cover it, and nobody on the left really cares. And in fact, if you're like Chris Hayes and you even mention the story, you've now left the cult. You've gone off of the reservation, and the whole fire Chris Hayes thing trends. Chris Hayes is a leftist icon, for crying out loud. The idea that you would want Chris Hayes fired simply because he mentioned that there are 8 women, one of whom says that he basically raped her in 1993, and is a credible accuser, by the way. Then if you look at that and you watch how people ignore that, but you're seeing it this weekend now, Trump doesn't want to bring up sexual impropriety. Why? Because he had affairs? Oh, he's been accused of sexual harassment and assault too. All of those cases literally fell apart. None of them were credible witnesses or credible accusations, but he has had affairs. He has cheated on his wives in the past, and they are now equating sexual assault and harassment to affairs. And so this happens in politics all the time, the double standard. We can't have Democrats stepping out of office, but former senator from Nevada, John Ensign, who had an affair with a woman when he and his wife were separated many years ago. His wife knew about it. They had reconciled. She had forgiven him. They got back together. This is all well known. Somebody tried to blackmail him, and as a result, he was forced to resign his office in Senate, okay? Why? Because he had an affair that his wife knew about while they were separated years prior. But if a Democrat has an affair or gets caught engaging in purchasing of prostitution and things like that, they're often applauded. So it happens all the time. Number 5, ridicule is man's most potent weapon. This is the thing that you see the most out of all of the rules for radicals, okay? Ridicule, attack. Gretchen Whitmer is doing this right now. Gretchen Whitmer is out there telling you that the protesters in Michigan had Confederate flags, swastikas, nooses, and they were displaying the most horrendous racism in the history of the country. For the record, I did find a picture of a swastika at the Michigan rally. It just happened to be because they were painting Gretchen Whitmer as Hitler. So yeah, they were attacking Nazism. They weren't embracing it. But she did actually see a swastika there. She did see a swastika. So ridicule is man's most potent weapon. If there is no defense, it's irrational, it's infuriating. It also works as a key pressure point to force the enemy into concessions. This, rule number 5, has been used by the radical left against Republicans and conservatives successfully up until the age of Trump. And it was almost unanimous and 100% successful. I mean, every time you did it, you're just a racist. Oh, I'm not a racist. And then immediately go into the defense on how you're not a racist, and you abandon the issue in which you were right. You had the facts to back you up. And this was a constant frustration of the Bush administration and many other politicians on the political right. So again, this is something that is used more than anything else, okay? You're a Nazi, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a homophobe, you're a transphobe, you're this, you're that, you're a Karenophobe, you're all of these things. Karenophobe's got to be a thing, by the way. Rule number 6, a good tactic is one that your people enjoy. They'll keep doing it without urging and come back to do more. They're doing their thing and will even suggest better ones. Well, we've learned that Rule 6 applies quite a bit to young, bored people who don't have jobs, who like to go outside and destroy other people's belongings. Occupy Wall Street, the group that was before them that I don't remember. You look at Antifa now. I mean, this is what they do, okay? And this is what they do. They enjoy doing it. And you've seen that a lot of people who go to these protests and things like that, it gets them out of class, right? I'll give you an extra grade. You don't have to go to school if you just go on this march, that sort of thing. And then when you go interview them, I don't really believe in this. I don't know much about it. I just don't want to go to school. So again, it's a way of increasing the support without there actually being an increase in support. Black Lives Matter is one of them. I was thinking of the one that came before Occupy Wall Street, though, Alex. And I can't for the life of me remember what it was. It was around before the Tea Party. I can't remember, but it really doesn't matter. And that's another thing too. One of the things that are part of this thing is rule number 8. We'll get to that, which kind of addresses why they always cycle the same group into different names. Okay, we'll get to that here in a minute. Rule number 7: a tactic that drags on too long becomes a drag. Don't become old news. Well, I guess rule 7 kind of applies to that as well. You can only take so much of Occupy Wall Street before the same people have to rebrand as Antifa. And then they'll rebrand as another group. And then they'll rebrand as another group, right? So it's the same thing. They get bored. You can't continue to do the same thing. This was something that I warned the Tea Party movement against, because the Tea Party movement wanted to do a rally every single week. And I was like, you can't do that. It needs to be an annual event on tax day, period. And like, no, we need to keep the pressure on. You're going to burn people out. People are not going to want to deal with it. People are going to stop coming. It's not exciting anymore. They didn't listen to me, and the Tea Party flamed out. Yes, I know there's still some Tea Party groups out there, but let's be honest, they have almost no influence, okay? Number 8, keep the pressure on. Never let up. Keep trying new things to keep the opposition off balance. Again, you go from Occupy Wall Street to Antifa to a different group, and you just constantly find ways to cause angst. This rule number 8 is perfectly illustrated by the media cycle against President Trump. Remember, we've been talking about this for years now. Every old fake scandal involving Trump when disproven, will get shelved only to be recycled and repackaged as a new scandal, and then it'll be disproved, it'll go back on the shelf, it'll get repackaged and recycled down the line as a new scandal again. This is something that happens with President Trump more than I have ever seen with any other individual in politics. Again, Trump-Russia collusion, not real. Okay, couple months down the line, oh, hey, Trump did actually have... No, that didn't work either. Oh, hey, Trump did do that. No, that didn't work either. They just keep recycling them over and over and over again. In fact, Nancy Pelosi is recycling Trump-Russia collusion right now. What does Putin have on Trump? Nothing, but she's recycling it. So keep the pressure on. So this, in the age of Trump, is probably the second most common thing that you're going to run into, and it directly relates to the personal insult rule. And they consistently go out there. They will tell you that this administration is doing this controversial thing. No, it's not. This administration is doing this controversial thing. No, it's not. They never stop to breathe. It's just one scandal after another. They're all fake. But the impression is, wow, it's never ending. There's a scandal a week with this administration. But again, they're all fake. But it's keeping the pressure on, okay? And if this were any other person but Donald Trump, I think they would probably have caved by now. Rule number 9, the threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself. Imagination and ego can dream up many more consequences than any activist. True. If you don't take that product off of your shelves, we are going to boycott you and you are going to go out of business. How many times have we seen that? Now, the likelihood that somebody is actually going to boycott a business into oblivion is very, very little, okay? That usually doesn't happen. You can hurt them for a few months sometimes, but in general, you're not going to run somebody out of business with a boycott. It just doesn't happen all that much, not with popular companies anyway. But they make the threat, and the shareholders get nervous about it, and of course, things have to change. Let's see. If you push a negative hard enough, it will push through and become a positive. Violence from the other side can win the public to your side because the public sympathizes with the underdog. Robert Creamer. Now, Robert Creamer is the Democratic operative who organized all of the violence at Trump rallies and then made it look like they were Bernie supporters who were engaging in the violence of Trump supporters. So the way that they spun it was that Bernie supporters and Trump supporters were constantly fighting at Trump rallies in the Republican primary, when in fact they were actually from the Creamer group. These were people who are paid for by the DNC, by the Hillary Clinton campaign. They go out there, they start fights at these rallies, and then when violence was happening, what did the media do? More violence at a Trump rally, more violence at a Trump rally, more violence at a Trump rally. And that turned people off to Trump early on until the whole thing got blown wide open and we ended up finding out that this was actually a Democratic group. Robert Creamer, by the way, is still currently in legal trouble. Number 11, the price of a successful attack is a constructive alternative. Never let the enemy score points because you're caught without a solution to the problem. Now, they do struggle with this. Okay, and part of that is some of the things that they advocate for don't have a solution, not a practical one anyway. If you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem. Activist organizations have an agenda, and their strategy is to hold a place at the table and to be given a forum to wield their power. So they have to have a compromise solution. We see this a lot with Black Lives Matter. And we see it a lot more at the local level than the national level. A perfect example, I guess, would be what we see in South Bend with Mayor Mueller, where he's constantly running around and saying, nobody has told me why this shooting was justified, why this police shooting was justified. Well, it was justified because he had a knife and he came at a police officer, and that's what the coroner's report showed. But he keeps running around and goes, they haven't told me anything. And so then he meets with the public and he's like, well, we'll find some way to make this right. We'll do something. We'll change the police department around. And there's always one of those things. Rule number 12, pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, and polarize it. This is the overarching strategy that is used by the political left and the media in the U.S. Cut off the support network. Okay, this is one of those things where you run around. Banana Face tried to do this. How could you support a guy who paid a porn star? Don't care. Lots of people pay porn stars. A lot of porn stars prostitute themselves out to fans. It happens all the time. But they were trying to make that argument. It just didn't work. Okay, it didn't work because nobody cares. So, and then of course when we turned it around on him, he ran away. So pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, cut off the support network. This kind of happened to John Ensign, okay, senator from Nevada. The religious right could not accept that he had an affair years ago while he was separated from his wife. It didn't cause a separation. They separated first. Then he had an affair during a legal separation. They reconciled. He told her about it. She forgave him. They moved on with their life. 3 years later, the evangelical right abandoned him as committing adultery. So they cut off his support network. And because his support network was cut off, there was nobody there to forgive him. And as a result, he stepped down. Okay. Isolate the target from sympathy. Go after people and not institutions. People hurt faster than institutions. They do this all the time. Okay. I just gave you some examples of it, but I'm sure that many of you can find more examples of it anywhere that you were to look. So that's the rules for radicals. And if you go through every single one of them, I mean, there's an example that I can give you with every single one, and I did that today, that highlights exactly how they use the rules for radicals daily in the U.S. media and in politics and activist groups. That's just what they did. Yeah, the Project Veritas legal battle with Creamer is still ongoing. And I think I gave an update on Creamer like 2 weeks ago, didn't I? Something like that. But I'd have to go back and look at when I did it. So, I mean, you know, it's one of those things. Yeah, okay, Boomer, okay, Karen. Those are things that are out there. Cults do use this. Alex is right on. Katie Hill. Yeah, Katie Hill made it up there. Did you see that Katie Hill's lover is now suicidal? Her ex-lover, whatever, suicidal, they say. So, yeah, I mean, it is... These are perfect examples of how this stuff is used all the time. Was the 99% protest part of Occupy Wall Street? Is that what? Well, no, that's not what I was thinking. That is a part of Occupy Wall Street. There was a group. They didn't blow up like Occupy did, but there was a bunch of organized protests prior to Occupy that they were trying to get going. You know, obviously since Occupy, you've got Antifa, you got the Women's March. That sort of thing, which, and bird dogging is very real. You know, as Alex has pointed out, bird dogging is very real. They use it very effectively. And for the record, sometimes the government uses it. The government will dress up as, we've caught agencies doing this. They will dress up as protesters, start violence, and that cues off law enforcement to put an end to the protest. Okay, it does happen. Absolutely. It's not as common as people want to think it is, but it does happen. All right. So, we have any questions, any comments? Thank you, Alex, for posting the sub link on there. Let's see. Yeah, I did see that Kitties and Koalas about Dershowitz saying that Obama was behind all of that. There is some evidence coming out with the Obama connection, but Obama's never going to be held accountable for it. You might as well just abandon that idea right now. So, all right, questions, comments. Where can I sign up for premium? All right, so here, I'm going to type this in there. We've put it in there a couple of times, but I want to make sure you have it there. All right, so caseythehost.podbean.com. Set up a free Podbean app, or account, excuse me. So you set up a Podbean account, download the Podbean app, which is totally free. Follow me, okay, on Podbean, and you will see the little button on the app that says buy premium. And you can click that. And so I've got a couple of different tiers for you to choose from, but the cheapest one is literally $2 a month. So it's less than the bad cup of coffee. Most of my subscriptions have been the annual plan. Most of you have done the annual plan. You'll see that because I'm crediting my subscribers at the end of the video today. Your name, not your full email address, but the first part of your email address without your domain is going to be on there. So again, if you sign up, what's going to end up happening is you get exclusive access to Coffee with Casey. I do have to upload a bunch of those, by the way. The radio show podcast is free for everybody, okay? So if you want to follow me on Podbean and you don't want to do premium, that's okay. There's tons of free content for you. It's just that when I do the live show every single day, it's not always a video like this, but I always record the video. So the live show that we do on Podbean is audio only. It's like a radio show, and you have to listen to it in the Podbean app, okay? But then I upload the video, like you're seeing right now, of the show for premium subscribers after that. So if you miss it, you can't listen at 2 o'clock. You want to go back, you want to watch the video, download it, what have you, you can do that. And you get Coffee with Casey. Fake News Flash is going to be coming back soon. You'll have access to that. And then you'll have early access to videos that will go to YouTube and Twitch, but you'll also have exclusive videos that will not go to YouTube and Twitch. And you get to win cool stuff. I mean, cool. It's like we were talking about with the giveaways earlier. So all of the subscribers have a chance to win one of those, okay? And again, that thing is much bigger than you think. We showed that off earlier. And then if you one of the higher tiers, you have a chance to win one of these. And these are, again, they're backlit. This is wood. And if you don't like the American flag one, relax. I don't mean to trigger you, Kathy. If you don't like the American flag one, you just want a standard Trump Punisher, you can get that as well. So we're going to be giving 2 of those away for subscribers that are above the entry level on that. Okay? All right. Let's see. What do we have? Yep, CIA Operation Chaos. That's a perfect example of that, Alex. Let's see. Was it the End the Fed? No, it wasn't. It was a leftist group. And for the life of me, I can't remember what they were called, and I always forget it. Occasionally, I'll find out who they were, and then I just totally space it. So I'm not going to put too much effort into it. They're all the same group. They just recycle themselves and rebrand themselves. Every time I hear the name Karen, it makes me think of Angela off of The Office. And the thing is that, there's so many names that you could use in place of Karen. It's just kind of funny that we've settled on Karen. Which is worse, Dunkin' or Mickey D's coffee? I like both coffees. So I think they're both good. But if I were going to buy one for the house, Dunkin' Dark is really, really good. If you're looking at the straight coffee, I prefer McDonald's coffee straight to Dunkin's regular coffee. But Dunkin's dark roast is much better than McDonald's. Let's see. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. We'll be adding your name to the list here soon then. From Tracy. Casey, do you think the Dems are responsible for Joe's victim coming forward? No, because she's tried to come forward for a while now. She tried to come forward again when he was still vice president. So no, I don't think the Democrats are responsible for it. I don't. Good question, though. After setting up the account on Podbean and subscribing, how do I access the daily podcast without the link you publish daily? All you have to do is be logged into the app, and it should send you a notification that I'm live, okay? So that should happen right there on your device. So if you got Podbean open, it's going to be about 2 o'clock. It should send you notifications. If it's not sending you notifications, you probably have notifications turned off. So go into settings. So so the podcast that I subscribe to, I get a notification every time they upload something or they go live, every single time. So that should help you out. I post the link for everybody else who hasn't signed up yet. That's kind of why I do that. But as long as you're on my profile, you should see it. Let's see. To be fair, Mickey D's stepped up their coffee game. Still not great, but much better than it was before. Yep. Nothing compares to Casey's Burning Brew from Toccoa Coffee, man. It's just the best coffee there is. That's all there is to it. Let's see. Cannot find a play button for the quarantine cast. Again, are you in the app, Barry? Are you in the app? I can't log into the... Well, okay, so right now I'm not live on Podbean. So you're not going to see it on Podbean right now. So that's probably why. Right now, this is the free episode, and the free episode is just going out to normal social media. So that's probably why you're not seeing the play button, okay? Let's see. There's the 1 hour Discord invite. You should be joining us on Discord. Thank you again, Alex. Damn it, Becky's a good one, too. Becky's a good one. Darla, I've seen Darla. Yeah, Becky's a good one, though. Let's see. What do you think of the storyline that Biden must be innocent because Obama's team wouldn't have nominated him for VP? Yeah. No. Sorry. No. Oh, which podcast do I listen to? That's a good one, Kathy. That's a really good one. Okay, so I'll start with some of the political ones. I listen to Get Off My Lawn, and Gavin McInnes does a free one every single week. I listen to that, although I'm really behind on it. The Daily Caller podcast with Derek Hunter is a really good one. We Hold These Truths with Dan Crenshaw. Representative Dan Crenshaw is fantastic. The Ted Cruz podcast is really good. I forget the name of it for some reason. God, what the heck is it called? Alex probably knows, but the Ted Cruz one is fantastic. Occasionally, I'll listen to Representative Devin Nunes' podcast, but not a lot. It's less entertaining than the other ones. Dan Crenshaw's, of all of them, I think is the best. I think that's the best podcast of the political ones, as far as the elected representatives are concerned. Who else do I have on there? I do have Tim Pool on there, but I don't listen to him tons. I will watch clips of Tim Pool a lot. I'm trying to think, just going by memory here, who's in there. I love Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast for non-political stuff. Chris Jericho's podcast is really good, non-political. So those are The Verdict. Thank you. The Verdict with Ted Cruz. That's a really good one. It's a really, really good one. If you listen to 2 podcasts from politicians, listen to Ted Cruz and Dan Crenshaw, you're going to get a lot of knowledge. Okay, tons. So here, do I have my phone? Here, let me just look at some of the podcasts that I have on here. Tony Katz from Indianapolis. I listen to Tony's podcast. All right, let's open this up. Let's see what I got here. I love the Drinking Bros too. The Drinking Bros are great for non-political, but they do occasionally get political. Those are the guys that are affiliated with Black Rifle Coffee, and they're awesome. All right, so hold on. It's getting buried here. All right, let me open it up. Oh, Jackie's going to get her hair did. Look at that. All right, so I have the Rubin Report on there, but I'll admit that I don't listen to the Rubin Report all that much. Knife Talk. I like Knife Talk. It's about knife making. It's a podcast about knife making. That's a really good one. Joe Rogan is on there. You have to have Joe Rogan on there. Adam Carolla. Candace Owens does a pretty good job. And I have Charlie Kirk's on there, but I have not listened to an episode yet. So I just added it not too long ago. But I think Candace Owens does a good job interviewing people. And I like listening to the interviews that she gets because they're different than anybody else. So there you go. I mean, that's just some of the stuff that I listen to. There's a ton out there. I just don't have the time. Just don't have the time. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it. Yeah, my pleasure, Kathy. Okay, what else do we have? Does Pelosi have a podcast? I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Could you imagine, though? I mean, geez, she could barely talk now. Crenshaw and Cruz make me want to move to Texas. I want to move to Texas as well. Would love to go to Texas. I keep telling people the 2 states that I would go to for virtually any opportunity would be Texas and Florida. And depending on where it is in Florida. But Texas, you send me to Texas, I'm gone. I would love to go to Texas. Oh, Rhonda's getting the Carvana vehicle delivered. Nice. Let me know how that goes. Ice Cream Talk, never heard of it, but that's interesting. And there's a podcast for everything right now. Podcast for everything. So, let's see. Car Talk is good too. Now, Car Talk was a radio show. And I don't know if they're still on the radio right now or not, but really, really, really good radio show when it was on. It used to be on Sundays, I think. All right. Not a couple of things, I guess. One more thing. I'm considering doing something, and I'm trying to see if I have the time to do it, okay? But I wanted to also see if you guys think it's a good idea. I am thinking about doing like a real news show. It's like 10 minutes maybe, 5 to 10 minutes, like super, super quick. It's just news. No opinion. I don't give my opinion at all. Just news. Tell you what's happening. That would be something that would go up onto YouTube or something like that. So I just don't know if it's something that I have the time to do right now. I'm trying to figure out how this new schedule is going to end up working out. But if you think that would be interesting, let me know. And again, it would purely news, okay? And I would just kind of do it like a newscast, and I wouldn't do any opinion or anything like that. I almost did a Carvana thing, but a while ago, but I didn't like the delivery fee. Yeah. Love to see me try and not insert my opinion. Yeah, that would be interesting. If I don't say my opinion, but I give an eye twitch, does that count? I would call it like real news today or something like that. No, never be spin. It would. I would. Here's the thing. So I kind of do this with the fake news flash. I pick a story that definitively has information on it. So rather than picking something that you have to formulate an opinion on, I would pick stories that don't have that. So for example, my opinion wouldn't be Democrats are lying to you about hydroxychloroquine. My opinion would be hydroxychloroquine, 90, doctors say that hydroxychloroquine is 90% effective, which is a research study that came out over the weekend. So it'd be things like that, okay? As long as it's real news. Well, just with this whole mess and dealing with family and stuff like that at home and all that, that's all I mean by schedule. Yeah, Subverse is really good. There used to be another news. What was? Do you? Oh, God. Remember there was that news channel, Alex? I think that you used it as well. There's that news channel that they would analyze how biased the articles were, and then they folded. They went away. So, is Subverse still around? I thought I remember looking at it a while ago and it kind of went away. Oh, Subverse.net. Okay, there you go. Yeah, Subverse is good, though. Tim Pool does a pretty good job. I love the Epoch Times. Love them. Any publication is going to have problems. Okay, that's the one thing you have to know. There isn't a perfect publication out there, but the Epoch Times does a lot of good work. Really, really good work. They're in the middle of a really funny battle with Canadians right now. It's kind of interesting to watch that because the Epoch Times is based in Hong Kong. And so they're based in Hong Kong, but they have reporters all over the world. And so they don't like China. They are really anti-China. So that bias does come into it quite a bit. But Epoch Times they have broken so many stories over the past 2 years that nobody knew about. It's ridiculous. So I enjoy the Epoch Times. Just understand that, the Epoch Times, like any other publication, is going to get some things wrong. They're going to have some mistakes, and they have a couple of times have been a little overzealous on stuff, but I think that they are a reliable source for the most part for you to have in your tool chest. All right, anything else before I bounce on out of here? So y'all dig the studio setup so far? And I finally got my arm over here, so I don't have it sitting on my desk, which is really nice. Really nice. Oh, I 3D printed a headphone holder. 3D printed that, so my headphones will just go right on there. Starting to add some accessories to the space. All right, last couple of questions. Thank you, Barry. Appreciate that. Last couple of questions. I'm thinking it has to do with his brother. 3 weeks ago was their last post. I remember going there before I heard about the brother situation. I remember going there and there being like some like not active thing on there, and I guess it's dead. So I'm thinking it has to do with his brother too. I don't know necessarily that it's the virus, but probably has to do with his brother. So hopefully they get that all worked out. What software do I use to design my 3D prints? I don't design a lot, but when I do, Windows actually has a built-in program called 3D Builder. I don't get too intricate in the stuff that I want to make, but 3D Builder is a really good program. It's easy for the novice to use. Tinkercad is really popular and it's free online. So that's primarily what I use, but I don't design a lot of 3D prints. I don't do a ton of that. Hey, Virginia, how you doing? Brother listens to Alex Jones. Don't know if it's... Well, they do have a podcast of his show. Yeah, they do. They do. Where can we contact you for new molds for firearms? Probably the Kydex channel on Discord. I would probably go that way. Or you can hit me up, and Discord's probably going to be your best bet, to be honest with you. My email gets bogged down. If it's on social media, it gets bogged down sometimes. So just do the Discord channel that is for Kydex. Do that, and I'll be able to do that. I've had a couple of people inquire about it. I'll need to secure payment before I order molds. Otherwise, what ends up happening is, and it just happened to me recently, but I had to make an order anyway, so I did it. Hey, I really want this particular product. How much? Here's the price. Okay, cool. When can you have it? I'll have it next week. Here's the listing for it and everything else. You order it, and they never contact you. So, I do like OAN. If you're looking at a network, OAN is good. Newsmax TV is good. I haven't seen The Blaze in a long time. I see clips of it, and I'll be honest, I'm not real thrilled with some of the clips that I see. The First is good. It's got my friend Buck Sexton on there. Jesse Kelly is on there. I haven't really gotten into Jesse Kelly yet, and I've never heard of him before, but I just noticed that he was on the network with Buck. But The First is on Pluto TV, and good network, really good network. But there's lots of really good shows out there. A bunch of people are doing video now. A bunch of people are. So, let's see. Did I hear you say something about switching my Twitch sub to a pod? You sent me a message, and I just forgot to check back with you. Okay, so I will look at taking care of that this week. Okay, Virginia. So sorry about that. I will take care of that. All right. So what else do we have here? I got to go for the radio show. Got about a minute or two. With the phased-in restoration of our rights in Indiana, how long do you think you'll still be at your home studio? Keith, I'll probably still be here for another month based on what they said on Friday at the press conference. It looks like, they at least want us here until next month. So I know that my company is saying that they really want everybody back in the building as far as the on-air staff. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But I do believe that I'll probably be here at least this month, okay? Now, with that said, I'm doing a remote at Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. Last I heard, that was still on, okay? You won't be able to approach me, but you can say hi from afar. Like, we have to adhere to CDC guidelines and things like that. But they're going to do, because today is May 4th. May the 4th be with you. And tomorrow is Revenge of the 6th, but it's also Cinco de Mayo. So they're doing Taco Tuesday, and it's a drive-through taco thing in Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill, where you can buy my coffee, by the way. Casey's Burning Brew over there. So we'll be doing a thing over there, but it's not going to be like the normal remotes where you can come up and say hi and things like that. But you'll see me, and I'll be able to wave at you and things like that. So there you go. Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know that they're going to let me split the studio time. I really don't. I think this is going to be kind of dedicated to other stuff and fill-in work, things like that. I did have a couple of radio stations already say, oh, he can broadcast from home now, huh? Interesting. Yep, I know. It's his birthday. I know. Yeah, I doubt they're going to have a new chair. I don't think they're going to have a new chair for me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to roll. I got the radio show on 95.3 MNC here in a couple of minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and end this. Once again, want to thank silverfoxart.com for sponsoring this. And again, they made that amazing piece back here that is hanging on my wall. And I should do 20% less time in studio. Yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to do less studio time. I really would. But, at the same time, when I go to the studio, I get more work done because it's hard when you have the kids running around and that sort of stuff. So there is that. Let's see. I must have misheard on Friday. I thought that there was no show. No, there is a show today. I don't have a show tomorrow. I will upload videos for premium subscribers on Podbean. There's a show today. But tomorrow, I have the remote at Monterey, so I won't be able to do the show tomorrow. Okay? But there you go. Oh, just pulled in your driveway. Nice. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bounce on out of here. Once again, go to silverfoxart.com. Use BananaFace25 to save 25 I think it's $25, or is it 25%? I don't remember. Darren will correct me, but Banana Face 25 to get a discount. Veterans also get 10% off over at silverfoxart.com. And again, like, subscribe, share, and if you want to watch all of these every single week and get exclusive content, make sure you sign up for a premium service over at podbean.com. Again, caseythehost.podbean.com. Set up a free account, download the free app, and then follow me. You should get those notifications when I go live. You all have a wonderful afternoon. And again, I will check you out here on Discord in the live chat channel for those of you who are Discord members. In the meantime, have a wonderful afternoon. Hope to see some of you tomorrow for Cinco de Mayo, Revenge of the 6th, and getting some nice taco time. All right, we'll be at Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill. Y'all take care. Be safe.